Okay, everybody, I think this is a very good session to lead into, the actual workshop that we're going to have, which is on the 6th of August. And that is about branding, more of a personal branding. But the formula can be applied to a company and product branding as well. But before we go into branding, and, this is something I noticed a lot of workshops, a lot of sessions, on selling, on marketing, has always been one-sided. That means it's always on the part of what sellers think, what sellers want to do, what is good for the sellers and all that. Very little emphasis is given to the buyers. When actually, if there's no buyer, there's no seller. In order for somebody to end up being a seller, they must be a buyer, because if no one is buying, you can't call yourself a seller. So I thought that, understanding the psyche and the psychographics, behind what makes a buyer a buyer, would facilitate and help the selling process. So by rule, by the general rule of thumb, whatever slides that I've shared with you today is applicable to all businesses. Of course, there's always exception to the rule, but we are not here to play by the exceptions. I mean, we are here to take on a general scheme of things, where it is applicable to whatever that you're selling, and whoever that you're selling to. So let's think about it properly, unless you're talking about, something which is a disposable product that people, just get, for $1 or $2. After they use it, they throw it away. Then it may be that people are just buying for the product. But if you think about product as something that you invest your money in, you buy an air purifier, you buy a massage chair, you buy a TV, you buy, say, a car, you buy a good pen. Now, all of these things, they are of considerable pricing, as such that it matters the choice that you've made, and on many occasions it matters who you buy it, who you bought it to, And I want to bring a personal experience that I myself encountered with regard to this particular occasion. And this was way back, I think the year must have been the year 2002, 2003. So there must be many years. But I always use this example because it is a 6-digit mistake that I've made. All right. So what happened is that I went to the Audi showroom with a friend of mine who wanted to buy a car. He's my colleague in an advertising agency, and it is very clear that I am just accompanying him, I drove in my another car because it doesn't make sense for both of us to be driving a different car. So we spent some time in the showroom, and the salesperson, was so good at selling the car that he sold 2 cars. One is to my friend, another one is to me. And when I bought that car, it didn't occur to me at that point in time that I'm signing on a piece of paper for my 3rd car at that point in time. I was already driving an Opel Cabriolet, and I got a Honda, a 7-seater Odyssey. And on that day, I didn't know what overcame me, and I just signed on the piece of paper because the salesperson made me feel so good about that purchase. Of course, I went back home, and my wife wasn't happy because to her, it is not like you're buying a chair, that you can put it in the storeroom if you don't like. I mean, for goodness sake, you're buying an Audi A4 car, it's not something that you can not like and return it back to the showroom. But that demonstrate, and ever since that day, I realized the power of actually understanding what motivates the customer. Because before that, I didn't think that understanding the customer was important. All I thought about was, if you have a good marketing strategy, if you know your product very well, if you are a people person, these 3 factors can help you sell anything. But that whole concept has changed. And ever since that time, I have been an advocate and a champion of, guiding people, knowing that actually knowing what the customers think, knowing what trigger the customer, knowing what tick the customer is more important than knowing the specs of your own product, and this is the part where I want to share this video with all of you. I'm going to post this video inside the Branded in 90 Days WhatsApp group. And I want you to take a look at this video because it's a very short video. But this video, I can relate to it because it describes partly what happened to me that many years ago. So let me send this video over now. And all of you, please take a look at this video. And then we will continue with this session. Okay, it's posted inside the Branded in 90 Days grouping. All right. If you're not a party to that, let me just send it to UIPM Professor Rela also. All right, I send it to Professor Rela so that Professor Rela, you can send it to the UIPM alumni members. But everybody, please take a moment to look at that video for you to better understand the subsequent slides that we're going to go through. I saw a message by Ahmad Kelly. You're asking for the WhatsApp group link. Unless you remember GrowWise, I do not know which other WhatsApp group link are you referring to. If you're from UIPM alumni, I have given the video to Professor Rela. Otherwise you can leave your, you can direct message me your phone number. I can send the video link directly to you. The video is just 1.5 minutes. Have you watched the video? You watched the video, right? I think that video has a very powerful message. Sometimes we didn't realize that you are basically like that person in the video, So it can encapsulate very much the point that I'm going to make tonight, that when it comes to doing a very good marketing, all right, the end game here is to sell your product irrationally to the client, not rationally to the client. All right. Now, by irrationally, it doesn't mean that you lie to them, you trick them into buying, you abuse them. No. What it means by irrational is that it doesn't follow logic. It follows emotion. All right. You want them to feel, you don't want them to think. In fact, the most of the time when your customers end up thinking, they will not buy because the thinking capacity will trigger them to want to make comparison, to want to sleep the night over, to want to look for reviews before they make the final decision. But if you can get them to feel more than to think, the decision would have been on the spot, right? It's always the rationale of money I can find later, but the product, I may not get it if I don't buy it now. I may lose it. I may, come back tomorrow and somebody somebody's faster than me, bought it, and that's it. You'll be out of stock by then, and no point having all the money, if the product is no longer available. So you do not want your customer to think rationally in that sense. You want your customer to think irrationally, if I can use the word irrational here, so as to make them be driven by feeling rather than be driven by their mind. Okay, and this goes to everything, whether it's a product you use, whether it's something you put on, you wear, or whatever it is, it's always been like that. I mean, you watch movies, you look at the woman choosing the wedding gown, you look at the man choosing the ring, you know, it's always the decision about feelings, never been a decision about logic. Okay. So we have to understand the motivation. Now, there are basically 4 levels of motivation here. All right. Now, these 4 is not that difficult to remember. All right. So it's something that you can, look at it a couple of times and you'll sink in your mind. And it's something that you need to bear in mind, on a daily basis if your job, incurs you to sell to somebody on a daily basis. But, at the end of the day, I always think that everybody is a salesperson. The minute you suggest somebody, even a simple suggestion like, let's go for lunch, you're basically selling. You're selling an idea, you're selling a proposition, and you want somebody to say yes. So anything of that nature, to me, is sales in the broader sense of the word. A student calling the mother and say, look, I need a little bit more allowance for the week, because I need to buy books and all that, is making a sale. Somebody calling you up and say, look, I'm a little bit tight for the week, can you advance me 100? That is making a sale. You can call it loan, you can call it asking for money, whatever it is, but any form of request, generally speaking, is making a sale. So there are 4 kinds of behavior, customer behavior, whenever a sale is being made. Right? Whenever a sale is being made. Now, at the bottom of it is what we call rational buying, at the bottom of it. All right. And this is driven by need. If I don't need it, I won't get it. It's driven by logic. If it doesn't make sense, if I think that the price doesn't match the product and all that, then there's no sale, there's no buying. All right. This is highly rational. And usually this kind of decision is always applied to basic needs product. It doesn't apply to luxury goods, or let's say a club membership and so on and so forth. This is basically, down to, I think a nasi lemak should be $3. If the nasi lemak is $9, I won't buy it. It's something basic, something, I would say, day to day. All right. So when it comes to rational buying, you just go on your 4 Ps. Everybody still remember the 4 Ps, right? I mean, it's something that, it's like the rule of thumb for every marketer, the place, promotion, price, product. That's the 4 Ps. So the 4 Ps apply squarely on rational buying, right? The price matters, and if every satay seller in the area is selling one satay for 40 cents and yours is the only one that's selling at 30 cents, you got everybody's customer. that kind of 4P application, all right? Price, promotion, product, place. And that's the reason why sometimes when people say, oh, when you go for F&B business, it's all about location, location, location. That is when you apply the 4 Ps on a rational buying. If you apply the other kind of buying, let's say you apply the emotional buying, it doesn't matter about location, location, location. It doesn't matter. People will go to the end of the world just to taste the food. I mean, how many times have we heard about people, when it comes to prata, they have to go to Jalan Kayu. I mean, prata is something that you can find at every housing estate. Why do you need to go to Jalan Kayu? It's not that the prata in Jalan Kayu, has cocaine or weed or anything inside it, I mean, it's just like any other prata, but that is where the rational thinking is not applied. All right. So remember, the basic is rational buying, and the 4 Ps apply. Now, the next one is what we call patronage buying. Patronage buying, is where the customer will purchase because of experience. And that experience can come in many forms, like you make it convenient. Everybody is selling it on self-collection basis. You're the only one who offers delivery. You get the market, because you offer an experience that the rest are not offering, right? So patronage buying is where you try to see in what way could you be better than your competitor. You find it, maybe your retail shop offer free wrapping, for example. Then everybody would think, oh, I rather go to that shop because I need to get it wrapped. all right? For the thing that you are buying, you can get it at any other places, but you want to go to that shop because they give the free wrapping service. So patronage buying usually, experience-based, where they can make your purchasing more convenient, friendly website navigation, sometimes in the form of service, like say, for example, there are two clinics, right? One clinic has just chairs and a fan. Another clinic, would have air condition, would have TV that played Mr. Bean video, would have magazine for people to read, and they don't have chairs, but they've got sofas, and both have the same waiting time to see the doctor. Obviously, everybody will go to the clinic that has a better offering. Why? Because the one that has the TV and the magazine and the comfortable sofa, the 10 minutes waiting time feels like 4. Whereas if you go to a basic provision clinic, where they're just benches and wooden chairs and a fan and nothing else, your 10 minutes of waiting feels like 30. So experience in which you make a person feel good, in which you make a person feel better, would result in that buying. And in this instance, one of the 4 P's will go missing. It can either be they don't care the price, or they don't care the product, or they don't care the promotion, or they don't care the place. So in patronage buying, where experience base is used, less than 4 P is applied. One of the 4 P's will be dropped. Sometimes even 2 P's will be dropped, and people will still go for it. Because why? The experience is valuable, right? Now, whether is patronage buying or whether is it rational buying, one thing remains for sure, and that is you need a strong reason to buy. If you don't have a strong reason still, you will not buy it. You will say, I wait for my salary. You'll say that I want to sleep over it. I want to think about it for at least 3 days. Or you say things like, well, I'm going to come back to this place again next week. If it's mine, it'll be there. Whatever it is, you can postpone your buying decision. Why? Because you need a reason, and the reason wasn't strong enough. And why wasn't strong enough? Because one of the 4 P's, or 2 of the 4 P's, or 3 of the 4 P's, or all 4 P's need to be present. As long as any of the P needs to be present, that's it. There's always a reason people need to buy the product. Now, very easy to remember, right? First, at the bottom, rational buying. Up the scale is patronage buying. And the third one is FOMO buying. Now, FOMO here means fear of missing out. Fear of missing out. That means you buy because you just have to have what everybody is having. You don't particularly need it, but you just don't want to feel left out. You don't want to feel the odd one out, if you see that all your neighbors have electronic gates, you want to install an electronic gate. If you feel that everybody is wearing a Mont Blanc pen at your workplace, you also need to get a Mont Blanc pen. So it is not about you identify the need. It's not about something compelling. It's just about you have to fit in. And this wanting to fit in is a very powerful emotion. It's not something that people can discount. That's why sometimes you see advertising ads and all that, they go on the basis of everybody has it, So they want to make you feel that, you should not lose out. So this FOMO is a reverse psychology kind of marketing, in which you play on the mind of the customer and say, look, you don't want to lose out, you don't want to be seen as the lesser, you don't want to be seen as underprivileged, you don't want to be seen as second status, So it's something that everybody don't mind forking the dollars out, don't mind taking the credit card out, because it is a self-esteem justification. And when it comes to self-esteem justification, it doesn't matter whether it's your last dollar or whether, you won't have enough tomorrow if you use your money today. All that becomes secondary. What is primary and what's important is that you must be like everybody else. You need to be equal. You need to be the same. You need to be accepted in the rank, you know. So that is the FOMO buying, in which is what we call the inclusion base. You just need to be included. You don't want to be excluded. You know, to be excluded is something bad. Is something looked down upon. You know. Now, at the highest level is what you call emotional buying, and this you throw the logic out of the window. You know, you can sell a radio for $10,000 when nobody is using a radio today, because you want the buyer to put that $10,000 radio, you know, in the living hall and show everybody that, you know, I got this $10,000 radio. Even though nobody's using the radio today, everybody's just using the handphone and the soundbar, you know. So this emotional buying, like, it cannot be explained rationally. You are paying a lot more, you know, for the price of a shirt, despite that tag that says, you know, made in Bangladesh. You're paying for a lot more, right? And you know that, you know, everything, you know, from front to end of that shirt is manufactured in a third world country, you know, probably by child labor, you do not know, you know, but it's selling an exclusive product, but you don't have any care for all of that concern. All you want to do is that you need to have that logo on you, you know, and that logo must be visible, because everybody must see that you're wearing a polo. Everybody must see that your watch is a Crown logo, you know, is a Rolex. So emotional buying, you know, you don't play so much on the quality of the product, you know, forget even about specs. You are playing on what that product can make the owner or the user feels. It's all about feelings, you know. It's all about feelings. Like let's say we know that Harley Davidson motorbike is not something that you can say you can ride fast, you know. Another motorbike, which is 1/5 of the cost, can definitely travel faster. But people still go for Harley Davidson, you know, because of the association of the brand. You know, they just want to feel I'm Mr. Cool. You know, never mind if my bike cannot run faster than an ordinary Honda. It's about me looking Mr. Cool. I don't look Mr. Cool in that Honda, you know. So whether is it emotional buying or whether is it FOMO buying, this second two level at the top, you don't need a reason to buy. You just need feeling to buy. And if you can invoke feeling in people, you know, make them feel that it's a loss if they don't have it, you got a sale. And it's true, because in psychology, to make people gain, you know, and to make people feel they lose something, the losing something is a stronger feeling than the gain. You know, this is proven in psychology. So if let's say John found a $50 note, all right, John will be happy for a day. I got a free $50 note, you know, it's something decent. I can, you know, go for lunch for two with that $50 note, all right, and that's it. Happy for a day. But supposedly John found that $50 note, and tomorrow when he put his, you know, hands in the pocket and he cannot find that $50 note, his mind will be disturbed for the next 3 days. He can be happy to find a $50 note for one day, but he will be unhappy for 3 days if he lost that $50 note. So by measure of reaction, people react stronger and more towards something they lose than over something they gain. You know, so sometimes in marketing, you know, for emotional buying is selling what you would lose if you are not owning it, you know, what you will lose if you do not have it, what you will lose if everybody else has it and have it and you're not, you know. Okay. Now, so if you really want to make the money, all right, you sell emotion, you sell identity, or you sell desire. Or alternatively, to me, an even better proposition, you sell you. All right, you sell you. All right. So people would pay not in accordance to the worth of the product if what you're selling is emotion, identity, or desire, because you're playing on the human basic weakness, which is, the want. One is the basic human weakness, and we all want things. Sometimes not because we have a need for it. Many occasions we buy something, and then after that, when we got home, we do not know what to do with it. We do not know where to place it. We do not know how to use it without, but the satisfaction of that purchase being made has been made, and you are just happy about it, despite the fact that the product has less worth when it reaches your home as opposed to when it was still on the display shelf at the shop. Okay. So we all are tricked by this thing in the marketplace, right? Something that has no logo would of course, basically 15, something with a logo, whatever that logo will be, and next thing you know is 10 times the price, right? Likewise for drinks. In fact, it applies for everything. That's why some people say, look, whether your watch is a Casio, whether your watch is a Rolex, it tells the same time. Whether you take a budget airline or you're taking a business class, you reach the same destination in the same airplane. So we know that in order for us to go into the top two, that means the fear of missing out, the FOMO, as well as the irrational buying, you have to move and play into the branding area. All right, whatever it is, either the company is the brand, or the product is the brand, or you as a seller or the owner is the brand. Right, but the brand must exist somewhere. If the brand is non-existent, then you have to accept that you must play in the lower two behavioral marketplace, where it's just rational buying and patronage buying. For these two, you don't need a brand. Because basically, even if you have a brand, the application of the 4 Ps makes it very hard and tough for you to compete in the branding world. Okay. All right, this is what I meant. Okay, let's say, for example, you're looking at 2 watches. And these 2 watches, they are Swiss made, they are designers, and they have the same price. But I can tell you the watch on the left will have a higher demand than the watch on the right. Why? Because the watch on the right is not recognized. It has the same value, it has the same worth, it has the same workmanship and all that, but it's not better recognized as the one on the left. So even if you're talking about the same price, the demand is different because of the branding factor. One branding is stronger than the other. So if you are not prepared to play in the branding game, then there's certain kind of marketplace you just cannot go into. But if you are prepared, to accept that brand is the business, not brand to promote your business. No, don't get things wrong. Brand is not to be used to promote the product or to promote the business. Brand is the business. If you get your branding right, whatever you sell works. So everybody has this mistaken concept that, I now have a product. Let's think about how to brand this product. That's absolutely wrong, because if you think that way, your product will never go far. It should have been, I want to have a brand, and now I think what product I can sell under this brand. Because whatever it is, the brand lasts way longer than the product. The product can come and go, but the brand stays. I mean, you look at all the different kind of phones, you have a brand, Samsung, that will stay for a very long time, Apple, that will stay for a very long time, but the products come and go. Today you have this shape, tomorrow you have another shape, today you have this spec, tomorrow you have another spec, and for some brands that refuse to acknowledge, that brand is more important than the product, today they are not seen already. All this Telefunken of the world, all this Cetron of the world, they are no longer around, because they don't believe in branding. They believe in the product outlasting the brand, but they didn't realize that it's the brand that outlasts the product. So you get an idea that brand sells. Now, just imagine for a moment, all right, that you are the brand. If you are the brand, you can sell anything. I'll give an example to this, all right? Let's say you set up a $2 company, right? You set up $2 company XYZ, enterprise, right? And you have a fantastic idea, right? And somehow, I mean, this is just hypothetical, your fantastic idea came to the knowledge of, let's say, one of the top businessmen in Singapore. Okay. Let's just conjure a name lah. What could be a top businessman name in Singapore? Can somebody suggest? What could be a top business person in Singapore? Anyone?
They mention your name, Rais.
Let's hypothetically think Peter Lim lah. All right, say Peter Lim. All right. So Peter Lim is a famous businessman in Singapore. And then Peter Lim say, hey, I understand that you have this idea, you know, and I like it very much. Now you are a new company. I see that your paid up capital is only $2, you know, so I want to take a very cautious approach. Just put my name as a director, you know, and I don't want to put any money in. I don't want to be a shareholder, but with a condition clause that, you know, I have the option to buy shares, you know, at any point in time I wanted to. All right. Just because his name is inside ACRA, next thing you know, you don't go to the banks come to you. All right, the banks come to you not because of your $2 paid up capital, you know, the bank comes to you because you have somebody, a big shot name inside. It's exactly what happened, you know, to Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg at one time left a major studio to strike on his own, you know, and he set up a film production company, you know, called DreamWorks. And before DreamWorks makes the first movie, all the major banks in US, you know, are offering him the loan. Why? It's not because DreamWorks is a fantastic name, but it's because the owner of DreamWorks is Steven Spielberg. His name is so big that when you think of a movie poster by Steven Spielberg, his name is bigger in bigger font than the title of the movie itself. How did they sell the movie? A movie by Steven Spielberg. To hell with the synopsis, you know, never mind if the poster is all black. The name Steven Spielberg sells, you know, it's like as long as the movie is made by Steven Spielberg, any viewer can expect a damn good movie. Now, that is what I meant by, you know, you as the brand, you know, is the best brand in the world. I mean, Google has proven that the highest number of search made in Google is not on a company, it's not on a product, but it's on people. So, you know, people are searching for people more than they search for anything, any other thing. So it is important that you have yourself as the brand, because then whatever you do, the company value will go up, the product will be better to sell, everything will be around you. You know, I mean, Alibaba is very famous, but everybody look at the founder of Alibaba first before the company. Right? Apple is very famous. Everybody look at the founder of Apple first before the company. Microsoft is very big, but everybody look at the founder first before the company. So much so that if the founder were to disappear or die, you know, the company can suffer loss of stock value, you know. Doesn't matter whether good products are in the line and all that, you know, it's because the charisma of the person is missing already. So if we understand that we have to brand, because why? We want to play in a market where it is FOMO and irrational buying, right? Then branding has to be on the table. We have to play that card, right? Then the question that comes is, which one do I brand? Do I brand the company or the product first, or do I brand the person first? You know, now the simple answer to this is that you brand the person first. All right, then you brand the company or the product. All right, of course there are exceptions to the rule, but the general rule of thumb is you brand the person for obvious reason, and you can see the reason here. All right, if you brand the person first, it will be faster. All right, because a person can react, a person can respond. You know, a product cannot respond. You know, I mean, respond in the sense that to answer you back. I mean, even AI has limitations, right? But a person, is a unique creation of God. We are able to respond faster, easier, and then it's also cheaper to brand a person than to brand a company. Corporate branding costs a lot more, all right? Personal branding costs a lot less. It's easier to brand a person because, you can converse with that person, you can train that person, you can remake that person, you can reinvent that person, all right? And a person is alive, a person is not static. And in the long term, all right, a person becomes a legacy, a name. I mean, we have seen so many people, even the word Levi's is actually the name of a person. The first person who created that rough jeans, for miners. All right, the name survived until today. The product come and go. The material that you buy today for Levi's is not the same materials that people buy 50 years ago, right? So that's when you want to brand a person. But if you decide to, no, I don't want to brand the person, I want to invest in the company, I want to invest in the product, and all that. Not to say that you cannot, you can, but what you are up against, the fact that it's going to be slower, it's going to cost a lot more, it's going to be more challenging, more difficult. Corporate brands are static, they are not alive, they are not a person, and it's short term. All right, because for every new product, you have to then brand that new product. All right. Of course, you can rely on the master brand like Johnson and Johnson. So whatever Johnson & Johnson new product came out, the fact that it's by Johnson & Johnson, just take it to believe that the product is good. Why? Because the master brand is there. But for that to happen, it's also going to take a very long time and cost a lot of money. So given the rationale as this, it's always better to go for personal branding, especially all the more if you're operating in the SME space. If you're operating in an MNC space, let's say you produce a name card and your name card, say has a big name on it, I say Facebook, then it may not really matter, whether people know you or not. The fact that you are the Asia Pacific director for Facebook, you are a big shot. People do not you, but people look at the company and people look at the pattern and accept it as it is. But if you're running an MNC show, all right, where very likely the man on the street may not have heard about your company. Now, in that kind of situation, in that kind of game plan, your personal brand matters more than the company brand. How you carry yourself, will be the one that sell your company, will be the one that sell a product, as opposed to, how nice your office look like. Okay. Now, this is the mantra for all personal branding. If you cannot sell yourself, you can't sell anything else. Right? That's the mantra for personal branding. Because the thing is, if you're not good, at projecting yourself, how are you going to project, the greatness of the product that you're selling? And this kind of mantra, actually, we experience it almost every day. I mean, how many times have you had on occasion where you walk into a retail shop, all right, and you left the retail shop because not that you can't find your product there, but you just got fed up with the salesperson. Salesperson follow you like a shadow, closer than your own shadow, breathe over your neck, just looking over your shoulder and all that, making you feel as if like you're a potential shoplifter. And next thing you know, you just got offended by it, and that's it. You walk out of the shop and go to a different shop. Right? Basically, because you just can't stand the salesperson. The salesperson is actually working for commission and may not even know that his or her behavior or conduct has offended you. They're just wanting to make a sale so that they can get the comp for the day. But this is when you don't understand the art of selling yourself, you cannot sell whatever that you are selling. How many times we decline a sale because we find that the person is rough, the person is rude, we will not go back. There was this survey I've seen that just a good 20 years ago, people would go back to the same restaurant even if they are not being treated nicely. But today, the criteria for patronizing a restaurant is that the service must be as good, if not better, than the food. That means if you can make me feel like a king, I don't mind coming back to your restaurant, even though I do not find the food to be like having a wow factor. You know, but because you treated me like a king, you know, is the treatment that sells. And hotels do understand this part, right? Just give me a sec. Okay. Now, almost as recently as this afternoon, you know, I just got a text from somebody and say that, hey, I'm surprised you managed to get you know, like more than 100 people to sign up for this workshop of yours. You know, and I think I understand the question, because I'm not the only one selling courses in Grow. You know, but on the average, I noticed that it's always about 20 plus, but this time around it has gone above 120 plus. I do not know whether a different person selling the same topic, you know, will be selling as many, or is it because I'm selling it, which means that if I were to pick another topic and sell that topic, you know, that it should get the same kind of response as well, you know. But the point here is that me too, all right, I would buy, you know, a course. I would go for a talk more because of the speaker than the topic. More because of the speaker than the topic, all right? Because I have seen too many times where the topics are very interesting, and, you know, I've yawned so many times during the talk because the speaker just cannot deliver. Okay, so I have then found out that really what sells more is the speaker rather than the topic. I mean, if you look people like Anthony Robbins or Tony Robbins, you know, whatever that he wants to talk about, you know, he has no problem about getting a full house. Right? Because people don't really look at the topic that he's talking about. People see that, you know, this guy just inspired me. All right, and they look so much at the speaker. And this also goes by, you know, even in religion, you know, whether it's Christianity or Islam or Hinduism or any other religion, you know, when you have an animatic speaker, you know, a charismatic speaker, that's it. All right, even if that person deliver the same topic every week, you can still see the crowd following them. Right? So this is where, you know, people buy, you know, from you rather than your products, you know, because of how you deliver yourself, you know, by association, by trustworthiness, right? And this is where it comes to the next part here. Then how do you sell yourself? Sure, somebody will say, okay, I got your point. You know, you're trying to say that the best way to sell a product is, you know, you must have the ability to sell yourself first. But how do you do it? Well, you can do it by basically 3 ways. Okay. Now, it can be 3 in 1. It can be 3 separate ways. All right. Because I've seen how having all 3 works, and I also have seen how having one of them works, but on a rarer occasion, right? Most of the time, it's always the presence of these 3, because once you have the first one, you're bound to develop the second one. And once you have the second one, the third one comes naturally. You don't even have to lift a finger for it. Okay, let's take a look at the first one. So how do you sell yourself?
Sorry, Fahmi, you
Yeah.
want to do it as slideshow? It's
Yeah,
now
how do you do it?
not on slideshow, yeah.
So how do you sell yourself? You know, first of all, you need to have a personal brand. All right. Now, a personal brand is not a personal identity. All of us have personal identity. That goes without a doubt. Because why? We have our name. It's on the IC, it's on the birth cert, you know, it's our name cards, it's on the office door and all that. So all that is personal identities, how people identify us with. But having a personal identity does not equal or does not make you have a personal brand. It takes a lot more to have a personal brand. You know, it requires you to be more visible. It requires you to be more likable, and it requires you to be more credible. Right? So while every personal brand a branded person has a personal identity. Not every person with a personal identity is a personal branded person. Okay. Now, once you have that personal brand, all right, you will find it easy to create or develop charisma in you. All right, because the thing is, you have the experience of meeting with more people. You have the experience of some level of popularity. You have the experience of followers and all that. Now, all of these things help you find your way towards achieving your charisma, which is basically having, the kind of character and personality and leadership that everybody, not say everybody, most people would love. Right? In this world, we all have enemies. It's very impossible to say, everybody likes me or, everybody loves me. Right? There's always somebody out there for no rhyme or reason will not like you no matter what you do. Okay. So, but charisma is one thing that, a level above a personal brand. Now, is it possible to have charisma without personal brand? Very difficult. It's very difficult to have charisma without personal, because in the first place, in order for you to have charisma, you must be a known person out there. If you're not a known person out there, nobody will discover your charisma. Nobody will discover, because people will not be with you. People only know that you are charismatic. People only know that you are you have charisma because they come to you. And why people come to you? They are drawn to you. They are attracted to you because of your personal brand. So the charisma is the outcome of having a personal brand. Now, once you have that charisma, when you say jump, people will say how high. People will not say, you jump first. Because you have that charisma of, that quality of character which is very upright, your moral ground is very high, your personality is impeccable, your leadership is unquestionable. So when you have that set of criteria of qualities with you, people don't doubt your instruction, people don't doubt your order. In fact, people are waiting, people are looking forward to, what is your next order? What do you want me to do? What do you want us to do? All right. So having that charisma means you will then have the innate ability to influence others. All right. So this is where sometimes you see, there are influencers out there. All right. And by influencers, we're talking about real influencers, not just popular figures on social media, because I separate the two. Popular figures on social media, they can have hundreds and thousands of followers and all that, but, they may not have the credibility. When I talk about influencers, I'm talking about people that generally population follow, because in today's context, it's easy to be popular. All right. All you need to do is just be naked and run along Orchard Road, and you'll be popular within what? 4 hours, 6 hours. All right. 1 million views. That's all you need to do. Just run naked along Orchard Road. I mean, Mas Lamat is also a popular person. So by popularity, it means that you can just do anything. You can have, your whole face painted with tattoos and all that, and you become, popular. All right. But these are the kind of popularity where people know, but not for reason that they want to follow. They know you, but they do not follow you. Okay. So the real influencers out there, they have charisma. And for them to have charisma, they have to have some kind of personal brand. Like I say, without which people will not discover you. When people do not discover you, you can have all the charisma in the world and you will not be charismatic. Why? Because you one person in a cave, how charismatic can you be? I ask this question. You're one person in a cave or you're one person in the jungle. How charismatic can you be? So charisma is only something that brings out the best in you when there are people, who can see it. If you are the only living person in this world, after that, everybody all dies of disease. Even if you have 100% charisma, is of no use, because there's nobody you can influence and nobody think of you as a friend. Right? Now, the next question, logical question. Okay, let's say I buy whatever you say. I need to have personal brand. I need to develop my charisma, and then I will be an influencer. But that's very nice. That's the dream of everybody. Why? Because that kind of situation means that you will live longer than your timeline. You can die tomorrow, but your reputation will live forever. You can die next week, but everybody will still talk about you 10 years from now. You know, we are talking about legacy here. So the question is, now I understand what you say and I want to brand myself. So I will start branding myself after this session. Then my response to that is that it's not possible. It's not possible to do personal branding on your own, because personal branding is something that must be created, you know, both inside out and outside in. It's not just something that you can do yourself. Because if you can do personal branding with yourself, everybody today is personally branded. The fact that, you know, you're looking at maybe 99 average person and one branded person is because that one branded person has a strategy that 99% cannot do on their own. You know, so if you want to be branded, you have to get somebody who's able to look at you from the outside, because a personal brand is all about perspectives. You know, in the branding world, there's such thing as brand identity, which is created by the company. All right, the company create the logo, the company create the name, everything and all that. But brand image is not something that is created by the company. The brand image is something created by the customer. The customer will think whether you're good or bad. You know, so that is the brand image. So companies cannot create brand image without customer. It's impossible. Right. So in this instance, it's also the same thing. All right. The person cannot create a personal brand. It takes somebody on the outside looking in order to create that personal brand. Either it's a coach or it's somebody who's out there and all that. So that is the thing that necessitates, which is the point that I want to raise, all right, and encourage all of you to attend the 6th of August workshop, which is a 1.5 hours workshop, basically giving you the fast track secrets on how you can be branded. But the caveat is that while it shows you the roadmap of how you can be branded, you still need to find somebody to guide you on it. It's still not a self-diagnosed formula. Right, it's not self-medicated. You still require somebody to help create that out for you. So this is, I want to end the talk today with how to make you further understand this personal branding works. Okay, let's say we look at a scenario here. Let's imagine a 40-year-old woman. All right, 40-year-old woman. Let's give her a name. Now I just take a name at random, not deliberate to hit at anybody. There could well be people with her name because it's a common name that I'm going to pick. Let's call her maybe Mary Tan, for example. All right, Mary is a popular name and Tan is a popular surname. So I hope I'm safe if I choose the word Mary, the name Mary Tan. Okay, so Mary Tan is a 40-year-old insurance agent. Okay, and Mary Tan has to make phone calls, 50 phone calls a day in order to do prospecting. Mary Tan, right? And in all her conversations, she will introduce herself as, I'm Mary Tan, you know, I'm representing so and so, and I would like to understand your financial needs, you know, so I can develop plan for you, blah, blah, blah. And I just wonder how many of that 50 will actually be successful. You know, I have this feeling, right? 40 will be, you know, a complete waste of phone call. All right. Out of the 10, maybe 5 will be warm, and the other 5 will be immediately cold after a few seconds on the line. And that's it. I'm not talking about a fantastic outcome of what Mary Tan can do. All right. Now, at 40, Mary thinks that that's the best that she can do. I can only do this, and you know, tomorrow I will still make another 50 phone calls. Next week I make another 50 phone calls. Next year also I still going to make another 50 phone calls, because that's how she see herself, that she has reached her limit as a 40-year-old insurance salesperson making 50 phone calls a day. Now, let's say Mary wants to break that ceiling. All right, she decided to, I want to rebrand myself, you know, and she goes for a personal rebranding, right? And she gives herself somewhat of a new, fresh identity, you know, And I mean, let's make it a bit more humorous. Don't get me wrong here. I mean, this is for fun. Let's say she wants to look more appealing, all right? And because she wants to look more appealing and more attractive, you know, her new version requires her to do makeup. Her new version requires her to go to the gym. You know, her new version requires her to change her wardrobe. A new version requires her to go for speech classes. A new version requires her to do, you know, communication, body language, you know, requires her to do a lot of things. All right. The next month phone call when she make, all right, she will make the same 50 phone calls, but instead of 40 wasted, 40 gains. Why? Because the way she talks, the way she introduces herself, and today, if she can go on video, she get her sales. Something that she might not, you know, under her old version. So what I'm trying to drive here is that sometimes we think that we have reached a point where this is the best that we can do, you know, and very much tomorrow, which is a Wednesday, is just going to look like the Tuesday I have today, which is also very much going to look like the Monday I had yesterday. All right. That's because we live in a universe that we have preset under our old self. If you can recreate yourself, that means you break away all these ceilings, all these walls, all these glasses, and what's impossible in the past will now become, you know, ultimate possibilities for you. Why? Because it's a new you. So you are reborn, except that you're not a baby anymore. You're reborn at the last, at the current age, you know. So that new concept of yourself, that new perception of yourself, you know, does not share the old limits. And you therefore can, okay, I'm going to go for this, I'm going to go for that. I think I can do this, I think I can do that. Which in your old self, you think that the time has passed. The time has passed. It's too late. All right. It's not for me anymore. You know, you come up with all the kind of excuses that will makes you feel self-justified. But all these excuses become self-fulfilling prophecy for you. If you think that you don't have enough time, this is not yourself, this is impossible, then it will be impossible because, like I say, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy that you make to yourself, you know. But when you rebrand yourself, you know, suddenly everything becomes possible. You can, you know, you don't have the same limit. You probably would want to set a limit to yourself, you know, but what I'm saying is that your limit is not the same old limit. You know, your wall is not going to be the same old walls. Now it's breakable, it's extendable and all that. So it brings a lot of value to do personal branding. And somebody was asking me, you know, I'm already 60 plus, you know, isn't it too late for me to do personal branding? And I say that when you want to understand the concept of too late only applies on the day you die. On the day you die, everything, not just personal branding, everything is too late on the day you die. But before you die, which you do not know when that will be, then nothing is too late. Nothing is too late. Right? So I hope to see you at the next session, you know, on the 6th of August on the personal branding, where, you know, you will discover it's an eye-opener. It's a formula that works on so many people because I've done it and I can give you examples of it. And, you know, I want you to know that you have a chance, you have a hope of remaking yourself. And remaking sometimes is the only hope that we have to change our current status. Because, you know, in all likelihood, majority of us do not like our current status. If we have the desire to do more, if we have the desire to be more, then we will not be satisfied with our current status. But how to do it, you know, only personal branding can unlock that part of it, as in the story of Mary Tan just now. Right? So I'll see you next week, and I'll post the slides inside the WhatsApp group after this, and the recordings, once I have downloaded, I'll put it inside the WhatsApp group tomorrow. All right. So I'll see you everybody next week, 8:30, not 9, yeah, 8:30. Please be punctual because it's going to be 1.5 hours. All right. And again, not to worry, even if you really can't make it the last minute, you will still have the notes, the presentation slides, and the recordings. But I can say this for sure, nothing can beat the feeling of being live, you know, during a session. So any last question I can take? One or two questions I can take now.
Dr. Fahmi, you want to take any pictures?
Yes, please do. Please do. I'm so glad that
Okay,
you're.
everyone, please on your camera. All right, going to take some photograph. Okay, okay, one. I'm going to take a few shots. Okay, smile, everyone.